Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here in Insurance Syndicate headquarters, and man, we have a great show for you.
What up, man? Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, 9 a.m., which means we are live right here in Insurance Syndicate headquarters for a little Tuesday Training. I'm super excited. We got a fun show for you guys today. I don't know if you saw the topic for the day in the event that I posted in the Insurance Syndicate group. But we're going to talk about the two types of agents, because there are two types of agents, and we're going to talk about them and figure out which type of agent you are, or maybe you're becoming. Before we jump into that, of course, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM, my CRM of choice. Lots of great things going on over there. I was sitting with Eric. He was showing me some more wonderful stuff that he is about to release. And unfortunately, he doesn't let me tell you exactly what those items are. But some of the things that Eric is building, Eric and Tim, I should say, within DFY CRM are definitely going to set it apart from a lot of the white label, go high level platforms that are out there. If for any reason, surely you're not one of those agents. There are two types of agents, those that have a CRM and those that don't. Hopefully you're one agent that does have a CRM, but if you are an agent that doesn't have a CRM, then give those guys a call. It's outstanding. It's got everything you want. It's got all the things, all the deals, all the stuff. They'll give you a free demo. You can check it out. So you have probably heard this concept before. It's nothing new, right? That there are two types of people, right? There are people that do X and people that do Y, right? And you've probably heard it. Hey, there are two types of insurance agents out there. Agents that do X, agents that do Y. This is a common concept. I don't know if there's a specific grammatical term that actually describes that statement or that comparison that people make from time to time. Sometimes it's done in jest, as a joke. For example, Mark Twain once said that there are two types of public speakers. There are those that get nervous, and there are those that are liars. But you've probably heard other people out there in the industry, thought leaders, whatever, say, hey, there's two types of agents. Agents that do X, agents that do Y. And we're going to dive into that today. The truth is, there are multiple versions of this comparison. There are many versions of this comparison. I could draw an enormous list of making this comparison of, oh, there's two types of agents, right? I could say something simple like, hey, there are two types of agents. Agents that do telesales, agents that do field sales. That's true, but what does that really mean? Big deal, right? So I took some time and kind of dive into all of these dichotomies, if you will, or comparisons of, hey, there's two types of agents, agents that do X and agents that do Y. And I sorted it down to what I felt like were the 5 most truthful and most important dichotomies that are in that space of agents that do X versus agents that do Y. And we are going to dive into them. We're not only just going to point out some of these different comparisons of the two types of agents, but we're going to explain in depth what those agent behaviors look like. We're going to explain some of the consequences that those agents might suffer or reap as rewards, depending maybe on which side of the dichotomy they're on. While we are going through this, if you got any questions, any comments, any statements, certainly feel free to drop them in the comments down there. But we're going to lead it right off with with number 1. There are two types of agents. There are agents that sell plans, and there's agents that solve problems. Now, the core idea here is that there are agents that really view their role as selling a product, right? And there are agents that view their role as helping their clients solve a real life problem. Now, on the surface, both are going to be completing applications, selling policies, completing enrollments, whatever it might be. But the mindset that's underneath those two different dichotomies or those two different comparisons, two different types of agents, the mindset that's underneath that is completely different, right? For example, the agent that sells plans, well, they focus on the plan itself as the main event. The product is the most important thing. And what do they talk about? Well, they talk about benefits. They talk about premiums. They talk about copays. They talk about maybe it's a Medicare Advantage plan and they're hitting on dental, vision, hearing, OTC cards, right? They give carrier talking points and bullet points. And their main concern is just closing the enrollment and skedaddling, so to speak. Their mindset is often something like, hey, what can I put this person into, right? How do I make this sound attractive? How do I move the sale forward? Their conversations are usually shorter, number one. They're more transactional, and they're generally product-centered, not client-centered. So type 2 is the agent that solves problems, right? Because again, there are two types of agents. There are agents that sell plans. There are agents that solve problems. If you're a problem solver, type problem solver in the comments below. If you want to be a better problem-solving agent, put solve problems in there or problem solver in the comments below. But the problem-solving agent is the one that understands that their plan, the product, right, whatever it may be, maybe it's a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare supplement, maybe it's a hospital indemnity, maybe it's a cancer, heart, stroke plan, maybe it's an annuity, maybe it's a piece of life insurance. If you're in the P and C space, that's P ampersand C, not to be confused with the bank. Maybe it's a commercial product of some sort. Maybe it's just a really good auto policy, right? The plan, the product is just a tool. The real issue is the person's problem. And this is why one of my friends, Greg Gerbikian, wrote a whole book about it. Sell the problem, not the solution. Now, agents that are problem solvers, they're going to start with different set of questions. Their questions might be something like, hey, what is frustrating you about your current coverage? Has something changed in your life or your health situation? Are your doctors still working for you? Are your medications affordable? Is there something about the future of your healthcare that you're concerned about most? What outcome are you hoping for? Hey, when it comes to your healthcare, are you the type of person that prefers freedom to choose your own doctors, even though it might come at a higher premium? Or do you prefer more of a network-driven plan that's kind of a pay-as-you-go? Questions like that. That's the questions that the problem-solving agent is asking. Their mindset is different. Their mindset is, hey, what problem is this client actually trying to solve, right? And it doesn't matter how complicated the client's situation might be. They're all trying to solve some problem, right? In some cases, it might be a person that, hey, they don't have they're not really taking any prescriptions. They're super healthy. And I'm going to use a Medicare example. And they don't really have any doctor relationships. But they know that running around with just Medicare A and B in a wide open 20% gap is like running around with your nose open and leaving you at high risk. So they want to solve that problem at the very least and make sure that they at least have some coverage, right? So then as the agent, you can easily step in and solve that problem. That's a very simple example. There are certainly much more complicated examples. But if you don't ask the types of questions that I was talking about or kind of give you some example of, you're not going to find out what their pain point is, and you're not going to be able to solve the problem. Other questions are the mindset of that problem-solving agent. What is actually causing the pain? What is causing the confusion? What is causing the risk, or what is causing my client's frustration? And how can I help them make a sound decision? Now, the difference between these two is that the plan seller is going to start with the product. The problem solver, well, the problem solver starts with the person, the beneficiary, the client, the policyholder. The plan seller leads with features and benefits. The problem solver leads with the diagnosis. The plan seller just wants to present. The problem solver wants to understand. And one of them is trying to just place a policy. The other is trying to create a fit, right, for that client and their specific problems that those solutions are needed for, right? So the truth is, between these two agents, one of them is very product-centered, one of them is very client-centered, right? A plan seller, the agent that just sells plans, they see the interaction as simply a sales opportunity, a chance to make some money. Whereas the problem solver Seize that interaction as an opportunity for a consultation, right? Let me consult you. Let me educate you. Let me empower you to make better healthcare choices for yourself, whatever it may be, better insurance decisions to get the type of healthcare that you really want, right? So it's a difference between surface level needs and really root causes. The client might say, hey, I want better dental, but the deeper issue could really be that they have poor network access for their dental plan. It's not that they don't have good dental. Maybe it just doesn't go accept the doctors or the dentist, periodontist, orthodontist, whatever that they want. Maybe it has higher out-of-pocket costs and they feel like, hey, there's got to be a dental plan out there that's got some better skin in the game so that I'm not having to spend as much money, right? And the best agents are going to learn really to look beneath that first stated need, right? The weak agents are just going to recite what the plan has. Strong agents are going to connect the decisions to the client's desired outcome, right? Perfect example I will give you real quick. And I actually wrote about this on my Facebook page. It was a few months ago. I want to say it was maybe right during AEP, if I remember right, maybe a little before. But I had a lady that came in. No, it was after AEP. I take that back. It was in January this happened. Lady came into my office, had found me on Google, as I remember, rolled into the office cold one day to chat with me. And I could tell she was frustrated. I could tell something was on her mind. Wasn't really sure what it was, but I knew something was going on with her because she just seemed super anxious about the entire appointment. Much more so than most people, right? And I understand Medicare is definitely very deep topic. It definitely drives some seniors very anxious, and she was super anxious. What I found out through speaking with her and listening to her was that she had a Medicare Advantage plan that had pulled out of the market at the end of last year, and she was running around in her mind she was not going to have coverage. Meanwhile, she also had found out she had just got diagnosed with cancer. She was basically weeping in my office, assuming that, hey, I'm not going to be able to get covered because I have a pre-existing condition, I've got issues, et cetera, right? And she specifically told me, I really want a Medicare supplement plan. Can you help me? And I knew I couldn't get her through underwriting because anybody with internal cancer, currently, you're not getting through underwriting on a Medicare supplement. But I also knew that she had lost her plan involuntarily at the end of the year. So I was able to GI her into a Medicare supplement and help her solve her problem. She came in this office in tears. She left this office ready to go home and drink some wine, feeling like her problem was met with the proper solution. The solution she actually asked for, mostly just because I was listening and asking her the types of questions to get her to open up, right? So again, weak agents are just going to recite the features and benefits of the plan. The strong agent, the problem-solving agent, is going to connect decisions to the client's desired outcome, right? So the example might be, hey, the example is not that, hey, this plan has dental, right? As we go back to the gentleman that said, hey, I want more better dental. But the real statement might be, hey, this plan is going to help you reduce the out-of-pocket cost and open up the access to see the dentist that you want to see. Something like that, right? Plan sellers, well, they rush to recommendation. Problem solver is going to take time to clarify the situation before they move forward. One of the key skills that a problem solver has comes straight out of Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that is the skill of listening, seeking to understand before being understood. That is the best skill, in my opinion, or one of the best skills of all insurance agents. If you can be a really good listener, and if you can truly seek to understand the client, understand their situation, understand the problem before you verbally vomit everything that you want to be understood about. Because agents who sell plans, they might get enrollments, but here's what they create. They create buyer's remorse. They create poor retention. They create more complaints. They create less trust. They increase their risk of chargeback. They increase post-sale confusion. Agents who solve problems, on the other hand, well, they have better client loyalty. They get stronger referrals. They get referrals. Let's just say it that way. They get referrals. And the referrals that they do get are going to be stronger. They have a lot more confidence. Agents that are problem solvers definitely have more confidence because they know that they have the skill set to consult these people in the proper way, solve their problem, and reap those rewards. They're going to find people, they're going to create a better fit between the product and their client to match that problem and solution. And they generally build longer term trust. See, a plan is not the problem. A plan is just a possible solution. And the best agents aren't going to start with what they can sell. They're going to start with what the client is going through. And let's be honest, if you're in the Medicare space, your clients are going through a lot. And it's incumbent upon you to find out what it is. If your first instinct is just to pitch your product before you diagnose, you are a plan seller. You are not a problem solver. If you're a problem solver, type problem solver in the comments again. So here's a few questions that I'm going to challenge you with. There are two types of agents. Agents that sell plans, agents that solve problems. When a prospect talks to you, do you mainly think about what product fits or what problem exists? Do you spend more time explaining benefits or uncovering the pain points of your client? Are you just trying to enroll people, or are you truly helping them make a decision? That's just one. I got 4 more of those. Buckle up. Number 2, there are 2 types of agents. There are agents that chase commissions, and there are agents that build relationships. See, some agents just operate from immediate gain. I need to make some first-year money, baby. I need that commission today. Others think in terms of trust, representation or reputation, and long-term value. Right? That's the great thing about this industry. The only way to truly be successful in insurance, the only way to truly make a lucrative income, right, that gives you some freedom to enjoy some of the other niceties of life, is the long-term renewal aspect of it. With exception of the guys doing wealth estate transfers and annuities for the most part, most of us don't get rich when we write one application. The goal is we have to keep that relationship on the books and let it stack up over time. So again, some agents are just going to operate from that immediate gain. They chase commissions. They're just looking to make some first-year money. Others are going to think in terms of trust, reputation, long-term value. When I'm looking at clients and I'm helping them, do I want to make commissions? Hell yes, I want to make commissions. I'm not in this as a nonprofit charity, but I'm not just trying to make first-year commissions. I understand that the name of the game is to build a solid, trusting relationship with this client so I can make 5-year commissions, 7-year commissions. I want to be getting paid on that enrollment 10 years from now because I've built a loyal, trusting relationship with my client, right? Both of these agents make money. The agents that chase commissions make money. But the agents that build relationships, well, they build something durable. So agents who chase commissions, these guys are motivated by the transaction. Their mindset sounds like, what pays the most? How many times have you sat in any of these Facebook forums, right? Or I call them forums. I'm old school. These Facebook professional groups that are out there, and seen someone say, what pays the most? How much does that one pay? Whose contract is the highest? And I get it, man. We're not, again, it's not a nonprofit. But are you selling products just because they pay the most money, even though it may not deliver the greatest benefits or solve the greatest problems and pain points for your client? So who pays the most? That's one of the thought processes of the commission chaser. Another one might be, what product can I close the fastest? How quick can I get this done and get out? How many deals can I push through? How do I maximize the opportunity right now? And that's not really a bad question, but ultimately, they're thinking about it from the commission perspective. How do I get the most money out of this person right now? They may not say it out loud, but it's going to show up in their behavior. So if you're not sure if you might be a commission chaser, here are a few signals or symptoms. Number 1, you're recommending plans before you fully understand. We already talked about this in the agents that sell plans versus solve problems. Are you more enthusiastic about the sale or the relationship and the situation that you're building with the client? The new friend, that you just made, so to speak? Do you disappear after the enrollment? Enrollment's done, you're gone. No retention calls, no thank you cards. You don't even answer the phone. I know agents that they'll purposely program their client's phone number in their phone so that when they call, they're like, nah, not answering that one. That is definitely the commission chaser. And they're going to prioritize volume of product over fit. Am I creating the right fit for the client? And do I pressure my prospects and clients versus educate them? Because again, there are two types of agents. There are agents that chase commissions and agents who build relationships. The agents that build relationships, they understand that trust compounds over time. Their mindset is different. Their mindset is, hey, how do I become a trusted advisor for this person? How do I serve well enough that they stay, that they refer me people, and that they come back? Walt Disney made a statement a long time ago. He said, do what you do so well that your clients come back again and again and again, and they bring their friends and family with them. That's the type of agent that builds relationships. That is not the transactional commission chaser. So a relationship building agent, if you're a relationship builder, put relationship builder in the comments, or just put relationships. They're going to think like, how do I create confidence in my client or my prospect so that they become my client, and not just pressure them, right? You know that a relationship is worth way more than one single transaction. See, the commission chaser is going to think, hey, what can I get from this person today? How much money can I get out of them? What can I get them to sign on the line that is dotted? The relationship builder says, hey, how can I serve this person well enough that they're going to trust me over time and send me their friends, right? The commission chaser thinks in single sales. The relationship builder thinks in lifetime value. What is your lifetime value of your clients? If you're in the Medicare space and the lifetime value of your client is only $347, you're a commission chaser. If your lifetime value is closer to $1,500, $1,800 per Medicare client, you're a relationship builder. The commission chaser wants a yes. The relationship builder, they just want the trust that leads to many, many yeses over time. See, the plan seller or the commission chaser, they're both pretty much the same agent, let's be honest. Transactional, they are a transactional agent. They see every single prospect as an isolated opportunity, whereas the relational agent sees every client as a long-term asset. Commission chasing creates pressure. Relationship building creates calm. It creates confidence. It creates clarity. Chasing commission will give you short burst. You'll make some money real quick. But building relationships is what creates sustenance, right? Money that you can predict, that you can count on. I know every month that we're going to get roughly X amount of deposits because we built X number of relationships over the years that we monitor and maintain and take care of. I can predict that and I can count on it. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not just out there trying to make a short burst of money to make ends meet for a minute so that I can go find the next shiny object. See, in insurance, your reputation is your currency. Your reputation is definitely your currency. And the more trust that you build, the easier it all gets. A perfect example of that, I'm going to use Google reviews as an example. We're not the most crazy web developers out here that have a super tricked out SEO website that drives traffic like madness. We're working on it, but we're not there yet. What we do have is a reputation built through Google reviews that drives traffic because people see that and they're like, oh, boom. There's some trust. There's a couple of hundred people that left them a 5-star review. That shows trust, and that builds trust because they can see evidence that we built relationships. And the more trust you build, again, the easier it gets. More referrals. Who wouldn't like more referrals? It's the best lead you can ever get. The more trust you build, the easier things get to close. The better reviews you're going to get. The stronger community presence you have. You get more repeat business. Agents who chase commissions, They're going to have lower trust, higher friction, less retention, fewer referrals, less renewals, a constant need for brand new, fresh leads because they don't have a system built of people that trust them. But if you build relationships, you're going to enjoy repeat business, referrals from family and friends, better client loyalty, more stable growth, and certainly better brand equity. And again, commissions are important. Again, this is not a nonprofit, but if commissions are your North Star, well, your clients do feel it. And I remember a time when I was selling door to door, I was in a low streak. I had made a sale in a minute and I was needing some money and I needed to close a sale. And I remember every door I knocked on got harder and harder and harder to get that person to even open up to me. Why? Because they could all smell it. They could smell the commission breath just coming out of my mouth. This dude does not care. He's probably hurting for money, and he is just begging to make a sale from anyone that'll give him the time. And I made 0 sales. That streak continued for a minute until I could get my mindset right. And the fastest way to make a sale is not always the fastest way to build a business, but the relationship first agent might take less time on one transaction, but he's going to spend far more over 10 years. So here's some more questions for you to find out. Are you the commission chaser or are you the relationship builder? If a product, this is a tough one. Answer this one truthfully. You don't have to type it in the comments. Answer it to yourself. If a product paid less but was better for your client, would you still recommend it with confidence? Do your clients think of you as the person who sold them something or the person that's helping them? Are you building a book of business or just a pile of transactions? There are 2 types of agents. Those that chase commissions and those that build relationships. But wait, there's more. Number 3. And again, as I opened the show, I told you I narrowed this down to what I felt like were the top 5. Number 3, there are agents who view insurance as a job, and there are agents who view insurance as a business opportunity. See, some agents treat insurance like it's a job they perform. Guilty of that when I first started. I didn't know any better. And I did treat it like a job. I just thought it was an independent sales gig. Cool, great. Let's go out and make some money. But others understand that it is a business and they treat it like a business that they can build. And I want to be clear when I make that statement, because this is probably the biggest dividing line in the entire industry. Is there are 2 types of agents. Agents that view insurance as a job, agents that view insurance as a business. And I don't care if you're a W-2 agent. I don't care if you're a 1099. I don't care if you're an agency owner or if you're just an independent agent or a captive agent maybe, or even an employed agent, right? Pretty much every opportunity that exists for the most part in insurance comes with some form of renewal opportunity where you can build a business. I spent 13 years as a W-2 agent. I didn't get a salary. It was commission only. And I grew a business, a distribution. Was I a business owner? No. But did I make money whether I walked into the office that day or not? Yes, I did. Because I had built a distribution. I had built my business within the bigger business. And if you are a captive agent out there or you're a W-2 agent, you need to start thinking of it like that. I might not be the owner. I might not be the agency owner. I might be still getting a W-2 or I might be getting a 1099 commission check through a captive organization, whatever it might be, that provides me product training solutions, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But you were building a business within the business. I thought like, not to brag, but I thought like this when I was a kid working in restaurants. I saw my 4 or 5 tables as the business within the business. I have to run these 4 or 5 tables as good as I can because I'm trying to make some cash and I'm trying to find some clients that come to this restaurant a lot and they want to come back and ask for me so that I can keep getting better tips, right? And it was my job to manage that little business within the bigger business. And insurance, that is absolutely an opportunity that every agent has. I don't care what level you're at. It is a business opportunity and you are building a business within the business, period. Agents that treat it like a job, they're only going to think in terms of daily activity and immediate task. Right? What do I have to get done today? How many calls do I have to make? How do I get through the week? I just need enough production right now to make me some money. They tend to operate more from a worker mindset than an ownership mindset. And I can tell you that every agent in my organization has an ownership opportunity. They just have to be willing to recognize it and grab it. And I think that's true in just about every facet of insurance for the most part. Again, when I was a W-2 agent, because my contract created a vested opportunity for me, that is ownership. And I took that very seriously, and I built a business within the business that I owned. I haven't worked at PSM for going on 4 years now. I still get paid because I created ownership and I built a business within that business. But I retired from Precision Senior Marketing at the end of 2022, and every month I still get a fat check. Why? Because I treated it like a business and I understood that I had an ownership opportunity. I took that very, very seriously. If you have a job mentality in this business, here are some symptoms. You have no real systems. You have limited planning. You are reactive to the workflow, or you will have a reactive workflow, I should say. You're very reactionary, not proactive. You don't have any long-term strategy for what you're trying to accomplish. And your dependence is on motivation. You need someone or something outside of yourself to motivate you. But again, there are two types of agents. There are agents that look at this opportunity as a job opportunity, and there are those that look at it as a business opportunity. And those agents that look at it like a business opportunity, obviously they're thinking differently. They think beyond the activity that's today. They think like the activity that I'm doing today is going to lead to a better tomorrow and so forth. They're thinking beyond today. What will my business look like if I keep this up for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Their mindset is more like, hey, how do I build something that's going to grow? What systems are going to make production for me repetitive, repeatable, I should say, or scalable? How do I create consistency within what I'm doing and not just random spurts of money every once in a while? How do I create some consistency where I can count on that I'm going to do, as long as I keep these activities in this direction up within this structure that I built, I can predict every day probably how much money I'm going to make, plus or minus a few dollars. Their mindset is that, hey, how do I build a machine for me and not just survive the week? They think in terms of infrastructure, scalability, brand, process, and leverage. And that is true whether you are building an agency or, again, you're building your business within the business. Both work. Now, the difference between the two is that the job-minded agent works in the business. The agent that believes that insurance is a business opportunity, well, they work on the business, not just in the business. They also work on the business. The job-minded agent is focused just on production. The business-minded agent is focused on production and architecture so that they can do it again and again and again, whether it's training, systems, processes, whatever it might be. That architecture that allows them to consistently deliver a similar level of production. One of those agents earns income. The other one is building an asset. So if you think about insurance from the eyes of, is it self-employment or is it entrepreneurship again, right? Some agents think that it's a job. Some agents understand that it's a business opportunity. Most of the agents out there, not all of them, but I would say the largest chunk of agents are all self-employed. Doesn't mean they're entrepreneurial. They own their labor, but they haven't built any leverage for themselves yet. Whereas the business builder is going to create leverage through better processes for himself, through great follow-up mechanisms, client retention strategies, right? They understand that they can participate within that team and help grow a bigger opportunity for everyone. And the difference often comes down to random activity versus intentional structure. The job-minded agent, they just rely on burst of effort, right? Again, this is the person that looks for outside sources for motivation. So yeah, they're just going to have bursts of effort every once in a while. The business-minded agent, he's going to create repeatable operating standards even for himself. And I want you to think about that. Operating standards doesn't necessarily mean, like, think about that. That doesn't mean that it's a big agency and there's an operations team and all this stuff going on. An individual agent working remote from their home can create operating standards for themselves so that they can predict their activity, their business, their income, their renewals. They can begin to forecast. That's the agent that thinks about it as a business opportunity. They create their own operating standards for themselves. And the difference between the agent that thinks it's a job versus the agent that thinks it's a business is that it's income today versus enterprise value later. The job pays you while you work. The business continues to produce because it has structure. I can say that I built a business within Precision Senior Marketing because I haven't been there since 2022. I still get paid every month. I built a business within the business. Some real world consequences. Agents that treat it like a job will often plateau because everything depends on them. Whereas the agents that build a business, they create more freedom for themselves. They have better consistency. They have better forecasting. And they're going to ultimately have greater resilience within the business because they understand what's going on. They have a better idea of the nature of this game. So think about this. If your business stops every time you stop, you probably own a job, not a business. Now, if you're new to insurance, that's going to be true for the first year anyway, period. If you're still in this business for the first year, 100%, that line still holds truth. The difference is understanding that, hey, I'm going to get paid for all the work that I'm doing again next year if I keep my head on straight and I attack this like a business opportunity. And then you can get to a space where you can stop and continue to reap the rewards, or you can pause, or you can take breaks, go on vacations, whatever it might be. Because a real business is not just production, it's production plus systems. Some agents hustle, but others are building. So here's a few questions. Here are a few questions. Let me ask you, drop it in the comments. Is insurance a job or a business? If you believe it's a business, type business in the comments. If you think it's a job, type job in the comments. But here's a few questions for you to wonder or to think about. Are you building systems, or are you just staying busy? Are you just running on the treadmill, or are you spending some time working on your business? And that could be as simple as, follow me out here. That could be as simple, working on the business. That could be as simple as just taking time outside of your normal productivity hours to spend time reading about the business, learning better about your specific craft, training yourself, watching some good YouTube videos, thumbing through product guides to sharpen your mind on a certain product that maybe you're a little weak on still, whatever it might be, right? That is part of building your system, because you are your system in a lot of cases, and you're sharpening and building yourself when you're doing that. So another question you could ask yourself, if you're not sure, if you're the agent that thinks it's a job or the one that thinks it's a business, could someone look at your operation and see a business? Or do they just see a hard worker? Can they see that something is developing for you? And then the final question, hey, if you removed yourself from your business and your activity for a bit, would it still function? Would it still run? If it wasn't, you might just own a job. Number 4, there are 2 types of agents. There are those that wait for leads, and there are those that create opportunities for themselves. I'm going to say that one again. There are 2 types of agents. There are those that wait for leads, and there are those that create opportunities for themselves. See, some agents, they just live reactively. Whatever happens, they're going to react to it. They wait for the leads. They wait for the referrals. They wait for the phone to ring. They wait for the market to improve. They wait for a better season. Whereas the others actively create momentum, because let's be honest, no one is coming to save you. You have to create your own opportunities. We can go back to number 3, those that look at it like a job versus those that look at it like a business. And this carries right over. The agents that look at this business like a job, they're probably sitting around waiting for leads to come in. The agents that understand that this is a business opportunity with perpetual growth and compounding growth, they're out there creating opportunities for themselves while the leads are also still coming in. I had an agent that I worked with for a little while in this office. Was a great dude, had every skill set necessary to crush it. He started off the ground running in his new opportunity. And then once he started making a little money, he became the agent that waited. And he just sat around waiting for my phone to ring. He didn't bother with any of the leads that came in. He didn't pick up the phone and cold call and generate some more opportunities for himself. He didn't call his clients to strengthen retention strategies. He didn't call his clients to ask for referrals and generate more activity for himself. He just sat and stared at the phone and hoped that it would ring. You can sit on the couch all day long eating Frosted Flakes, waiting for the money to come in through the slot in your door from the mailman. It ain't coming, man. There are two types of agents, those that wait for leads and those that create opportunities. If you're an opportunity creator, type in opportunity in the comments. The agents that wait are passive. Even if they're busy, they're still passive. Their mindset is, I hope something comes in. I hope that phone rings. I hope a big fat lead walks in the door and tells me what to sell them or what to offer them or what problem to solve for them, because I'm sure not going to do it. I'm going to sit around and wait, because it's got to happen. If I wait here long enough, surely someone will come in the door. Their mindset is that I need more leads. I don't have enough leads. I need more leads. The market is slow. That's another mindset of the waiter. You know, the market's slow. It'll come back around, though. It always does. It's a cycle. We'll just sit here and wait for the market to return. Well, you know, the people, they're just not answering the phone right now. They're just not answering the phone. Maybe next month they'll be better. Maybe next month they'll be better. That's the agents that sit around waiting for the leads. They place too much power outside of themselves. Signs that you are an agent that waits. You have inconsistent outreach. You don't really have a lead strategy for yourself, right? Outside of just waiting for leads to come in. You're not being opportunistic. You have very little follow-up discipline. After someone gets off the phone with you, you're not checking back in with them to try to make sure that, hey, let's make sure, number one, the product that I sold you sticks. Let's make sure, number two, hey, can I find more people that you need me to help? Or let me make sure that I'm following up with you and checking in on you. Like in our space, in the Medicare space, our number one target is a turning 65-year-old, right? All of our marketing year round, even during AEP, is all developed towards T65s. That's my number one target. Understanding that means that I need to, if I want to get ahead of the other agents that are out there and be competitive, I need to start talking to these people 6 to 9 months, maybe a year before they turn 65. That creates an extremely long sales funnel, which means that follow-up discipline is extremely necessary. But if you have no follow-up discipline to work that type of pipeline, you're always just going to be sitting around waiting for the new lead to come in. And then finally, if you're a waiting agent, you blame the external conditions, right? The market is slow. The phone's just not ringing today, whatever it might be. So again, there are two types of agents. There are those that wait around for leads, and there are those that create opportunities. The agents that create opportunities, they understand that opportunity is rarely found by accident. It's generated through deliberate action, turning over rocks, knocking on doors, picking up the phone, checking with people over and over and over. Their mindset is different. Their mindset is, how do I create more conversations with people? What can I do this week that will generate more demand for what I offer? How can I make myself more visible, more useful, more referable? What systems can I produce or what systems can I create or work within that are going to produce more appointments consistently? They're going to create momentum through effort, visibility, and strategy, not just sitting on their tuchus waiting for the phone to ring. See, the waiting agents, they depend on conditions. The phone's hot today. That's a condition. It's not raining today, so I can go out and actually knock on doors if I want to. That's a condition. Opportunity creating agents, they're going to influence the conditions. It doesn't matter what it is, and they will adapt. The waiting agents react. The opportunity creating agents cause more things to happen. One of them hopes, the other one actually builds their pipeline. Say pipeline if you have a pipeline. See, it's a difference between passive selling versus pipeline creation, right? If you're creating opportunities, that's going to include things like follow-up campaigns. Am I following up with my clients properly? Am I setting tasks that allow me to stay on top of my follow-ups properly and not just rely on my memory all the time? Am I asking for referrals from the clients who express they love me and trust me and thank me? One of my favorite things is when I help a client get what they need, I make a nice commission out of it. They cut me a check and they hand me that check and they say, thank you. Am I asking that person for referral? I damn well should be. Creating opportunities is going to mean better networking. I'm actually talking to other people in my industry, or I'm talking to my clients, my prospects that are in other segments where I can actually get out and get in front of them and chat with them for a minute. And they're, more importantly, they're going to have consistent outbound effort, right? And this is true. Like, even if you're, let's go back. Let's say you're a captive agent, right? And leads are all provided to you. That's great. Hopefully you're in a system that does create good leads for you. But there are going to be times where you're in between leads for whatever reason. What are you doing in that time? Are you trying to create more opportunity? Are you following? Are you taking that time like, hey, now's a good time that I can follow up with this group of people that I haven't closed yet? Let me check in on them. Let me see where they're at. Or are you calling some of your current clients using that time to check in on them and ask for referrals, ask for secondary products? One of the easiest ways to make money in insurance is selling them a second product after you got the trust. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call them. They already trust you once. Call them and get them on the phone again if you can. Are you taking those opportunities? Are you taking that opportunity to create more opportunity? Right? It's the difference really between a scarcity mindset and a mindset of abundance. Say abundance if you like that. Because waiting is going to produce helplessness. If you sit around and wait all the time and the phone doesn't ring one day, you're going to begin to feel helpless. But if you're out there pushing and you're creating opportunities, well, that's going to produce momentum and that's going to create confidence, and ultimately it's going to generate income, right? The agents that wait for leads, they blame the market. The agents that create opportunities, they adapt to the market. See, a weak agent is going to blame the leads. They're going to blame the economy. They're going to blame seasonality, right? Oh, you can only sell Medicare during AEP. It's a seasonal business. Got to find something else to sell the other 9 months of the year. Which, if you think that way, I'm going to tell you is bullshit, because we built this business marketing Medicare year round. Weak agents blame the clients. Oh, that client, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. They're going to blame compliance. Oh, it's too hard to sell Medicare with all this stuff. I got, disclaimers and call recordings. The compliance gets in the way and I can't do it. Or they're going to blame the market. Oh, there's plans that are non-commissionable and things are happening and it's shifting and it's just more expensive. The strong agent, the agent that creates opportunities, they're going to ask themselves a different question. Given the reality, what can I still do to create a compounding effect and to create more opportunity? Because consistency is going to beat intensity. Opportunity creation is often less about the one heroic day, and it's more about the repeatable actions over time. Thinking about some of the real world consequences, the agents that wait, they experience inconsistent income, emotional roller coasters, lack of confidence, dependency on outside forces, and production droughts. Nobody likes that. Versus the agents that create opportunity, what do they have? Well, they got stronger pipelines. They're going to have better predictability. They're going to have more confidence, more control over the outcome, and ultimately more stability, right? The market may matter, but your response to the market, that matters more all day long. And top agents aren't going to wait for the ideal conditions. They're going to create the movement inside of imperfect conditions. So here's some questions to challenge yourself with. If you're the agent that sits around waiting for leads, or are you the agent that creates opportunities? Are you mostly reacting to your pipeline, or are you intentionally feeding and growing your pipeline? Do you have a repeatable way to create new conversations? Or are you waiting for momentum, or are you manufacturing it? We got 9 minutes left. We got one more, because there are two types of agents. Some of you may have saw the post that I made yesterday on Facebook where I expressed some of my frustrations that I've been going through in this industry lately, trying to build and grow something that's special and unique. And mostly it stemmed from me not being very good at technology and just beating my head against it, but we'll get there. But there are two types of agents in this business. There are agents that quit, and there are agents that endure. And of the 5 that I've given you today, this is the deepest one in my opinion, because this is the one that gets to your character. See, many agents will do the right things, but only briefly. Very few agents are really going to do it long enough that they can actually win. And the divide is not talent. The divide is simply endurance. And yes, Barry Rutten, the phone is heavy. So the agents that quit, and it doesn't mean that they literally just like leave the industry today or tomorrow. Quitting is often subtler. Quitting can look like pulling back and retreating after some disappointment, after a rejection, right? Losing your momentum after a client door slams you or hangs up the phone on you. It's maybe abandoning a certain strategy a little too early, right? Calling 3 leads and be like, these leads suck. But there's 100 more. Nope, the first 3 suck. They all suck. That's the agent that quits. Switching directions constantly, letting discouragement dictate your actions, and ultimately mentally checking out before you physically leave. And their mindset is exactly like Barry said, the phone's so heavy. It hurts my hand. Their mindset is like, maybe this isn't for me. It's just too hard. The phone's too heavy. I've tried enough. It just doesn't work. And if it's not working fast, well, maybe I should do something else. Versus the agents that endure. The agents that endure, we're not immune to frustration. Go back and read my post that I made yesterday. Dude, I can't tell you how frustrated I was yesterday. And it's not the first time, and it probably won't be the last time. Why? Because I am growing something. I am building something, because I believe that I'm the second type of agent that I've listed every time. And I'm definitely the type of agent that will endure. I've been doing it for 22 years and have success at various stages. We can talk about that shit another day. The agents that endure, they might think, hey, it's hard, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. I can learn. I can adjust. I can continue. My feelings do not have to get in the way of my decisions. Success might take a little longer than I wanted, but I'm staying in the fight. That's the agent that endures. They understand that endurance is not just blind stubbornness. It is discipline, persistence with adaptation. See, the difference between the two is simple. Quitters, they're ruled by discomfort. If it hurts, if it's painful, if it's not comfortable, they check out. But those who endure, they're guided by their commitment to the end result that they're looking for, to their goals. The quitters are going to interpret difficulty as a stop sign. Whoa, this is hard. Stop. Those that endure are going to interpret difficulty as part of the path. It's just a bump in the road. It's part of the path. Quitters need quick proof. They need to know that it's working now. Those that endure are willing to compound their efforts. And a lot of times it's going to come down to emotional decision making versus committed persistence. Many people will fail in this industry and many other industries, to be honest, because they let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. I was involved in a temporary emotion yesterday. I was not having a great day. I was pounding my fist on the table. Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I get this done? Why is it breaking? And I wanted to just walk the fuck out. Pardon my language. That's what I wanted. Like my emotions were like, dude, you got to remove yourself from this because it hurts, it's painful, and you don't like it. And then my confidence was shrinking. I started to feel like I was a failure. And ultimately I did. I stepped out of the office for a minute, got my breath, thought about things for a second. I'm like, all right, let's go back in there and tackle this shit. But I endured. Quitters are going to personalize setbacks. I failed, so maybe I'm not good at this. That person slammed the door on me, or that person didn't buy, so maybe I'm not that good. The enduring agent is be like, that attempt failed. What can I learn from it? And let's go try it again. The agents that keep restarting from zero, they never experience the compounding effort, right? There's those agents that are out there. We know them. They're probably in every side of this business. They're definitely in the Medicare space, but they bounce from one upline to another. They'll find a broker that they want to work with. They start working with them. The attempt fails for whatever reason. And then they go bounce and they start back over from zero again. And they do it over and over and over. They're never going to experience the true compounding growth that insurance offers, because endurance is what gives your efforts time to mature. And you need that in this business. Insurance is such a great business. Like, I'm a perfect example. I've never been the most stellar salesperson. I'm pretty damn good, especially now. But I've never been the most spectacular salesperson that could close anything with the heartbeat. But I understood that I can suck at insurance. I'm still going to make a lot of money. I just have to be willing to suck a little bit longer than the other guy. No problem. I can do this. It doesn't mean that you have to repeat your bad habits forever, right? That's not what endurance means. Like, let me just repeat these bad habits. Like, you need to stay committed, but also get sharper at the same time so that you can speed it up. Real world consequences. So we'll get this closed out here in a couple of minutes for you guys. Agents that quit or mentally quit, well, they never stay in the game long enough to build a reputation, master their craft and sales skills. They never develop any confidence. They never create referral momentum. They really never create any momentum. They don't learn from the patterns, and they never experience the true compounding effect that insurance can bring to the table. Versus the agents that endure, they separate themselves. Why? Because they're going to stay active longer. They're going to learn more. They're going to improve more and faster. They're going to build deeper confidence. And these people, they are going to become dangerous over time. So in this industry, there's a lot of people that don't lose because they lacked ability. They simply lose because they stopped. Perfect example again is my guy that I just talked about that became, he was a go-getter. And then as soon as he started making some real money, he became the agent that waits. He quit on himself. That dude could be making, I guarantee you, he would be on pace to cross six figures in renewal money alone this year had he just shut his mouth and stayed in his seat and kept the momentum that he had created. But instead, he just chose one day to stop and sit and let the phone ring, and hopefully it does ring. And he went from the agent that had momentum to an agent that doesn't. He went from the agent that was looking at this as a business opportunity to the one that started seeing it as a job. The market will reward the people that stay consistent through the seasons, even when they feel thankless. And endurance is often what's going to turn average beginnings into extraordinary careers. So here's a few final questions for you guys to close it up. Are you the agent that quits? Or are you the agent that endures? Type endure if you're the agent that will endure. So here's a few questions. When things get hard, do you get sharper or do you retreat? When things get hard, do you take time to sharpen your skill set or do you just retreat? Have you actually failed, or are you simply haven't been in the game long enough? Insurance isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, man. It's a snowball scheme. You're pushing a snowball uphill, adding snow to it the entire time, hoping that one day you can get that giant snowball over the hill. And then it becomes real fun because you have to chase that snowball and keep it together the whole time. Final question. Are you committed to growth, or are you only committed when it feels good and not when it gets hard? There are two types of agents, those that quit and those that endure. So that is the show for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed that, took some great things about it. And there are two types of agents. There are agents that follow this podcast, and there are agents that don't. So thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week for Tuesday training.